The Eagle has landed. I finally gathered up all the parts to finish the A1 build project. So let's get this puppy together. Welcome back to Cyclecraft TV. I am Brendan Poe, the owner of the Cyclecraft Cycling Center located in Parsippany, New Jersey, and all around the world at cyclecraft.com. This update on the Vaast A1 project build has been a long time coming. If you've been following the series, our last installment covered the interim build of the Vaast all-road frame using Sram Force 1 drivetrain. Well, the season got a little bit crazy, and I goofed up my back in late spring. But the real reason this has taken so long to get back to was the availability of the 12-speed Axis drivetrain parts and the Axis dropper post. Recapping what my original intention was, I wanted a bike that was versatile enough to be a good gravel bike, usable as a road bike, and may be able to handle some single track. The interim build with the Force 1 mechanical kit was certainly great as a gravel bike, and I rode it through the winter and spring with 650 wheels and 47mm tires. As a road bike with this setup, it was a little pokey. If I was riding alone, I wouldn't care, but when I was riding with folks on the road who were riding on road bikes, I was struggling to keep up. I did use this setup as a cyclocross bike with 700C wheels as well, and it was pretty good for that purpose, but a little slower on turns than a true cross racing bike would be, but certainly usable for someone with my limited cross skills. And that brings us to the current state of affairs. Here are the parts I decided on for the final build. I'll include the parts listed in the notes for the video below. Let's get to unboxing. Hey, so it's been about 2 months since I did that last segment that we just watched, and I won't bore you with all the details about why it's been so long since I got back to this, other than this snappy new haircut. But I just want to say welcome over to the shop area where we're going to unbox all the parts and we're going to go through what we're doing on this build. I'm not going to bore you with unboxing each of these parts. Suffice it to say that the packaging that all the SRAM stuff comes in is really beautiful. I think it's kind of overkill, and honestly it's a waste of money and resources as far as I'm concerned. They could really simplify that quite a bit. That said, let's get to unboxing this thing. Well, there they are. So let's talk about what's going on here with all these parts. Now, if you recall from the original build, I had put together the bike with an 11-speed Force kit, non-electric. So this is going to be an Axis kit. That means that all of the parts are connected electronically, wirelessly, and the shifting is actuated with battery power. So if you recall from the original concept of this build is to have a bike that does a lot of different stuff. It needs to be able to have gearing ranges that are wide enough to make it a road bike, gravel bike, a little bit of mountain biking. Whatever I want to do with this bike, I've got to be able to have a gear range that's wide enough and a couple of different wheel sets also in order to be able to make the bike do all the stuff that I want it to do. So let's talk about the heart of the system here is the SRAM Axis GX Eagle rear derailleur. So this is Axis, meaning it is battery powered, and the shifting is happening through the triggers, these signal senders up here on the shifters and brake levers. So that's the heart of the system. It's pretty sexy, and I think this is the key component that's going to make this work. Now, because this is almost a year later since I started this project, because it took me so long to get these parts, we're going to go ahead and build the Vaast A1 frame set again in the winter build. And so what that means is I'm going to be using my 650B wheels, and we're going to be putting the fenders back on as well. So that's essentially what I use for as a winter build. Sorry about all the noise. Anyway, so that is going to be the build that we're working on today. Now, when springtime comes around again and I want to use this maybe as a road bike a little bit more, I do have a set of 700C wheels that I will put back on the bike. So the fenders come off, the 700C wheels go on, and then the gear ratios will change a little bit as well. So right now, the reason I went with the Eagle GX derailleur was that I can run a much wider gear range. So this is a 10 to 46 that I'm putting on the bike, but I have the ability, I have the chain capacity on the derailleur to go to a 10 to 51 or 52 if I want to. So that would make it suitable if I'm doing a single tracky off-road kind of a ride. I can use much wider gearing. The other notable thing here is that keep in mind that these are road shifters. This is a force axis road lever, brake lever combination. So what's interesting about all that is that I can mix and match mountain bike components and road components to create the build that I want to build. And that's what's interesting about the whole Sram kit setup. The Shimano setups don't have that same kind of adjustability or interchangeability between the parts. You could do it, but it's not that easy. The other fun thing that I'm putting on the bike, it adds a little bit of weight to the whole setup. But this is the RockShox Xplor axis dropper post. So this is not a dropper post that's actuated with a cable or hydraulic line. It's all built together. The actuator is built into this, the head. It's battery operated. The shift lever has the switch on it to make the post go up and down. Now you may say, well, why would you want something like that? Well, for more of the rough gravel rides, you're going to be using a dropper post in certain situations. But also, since I want to try this bike on a single track. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't expect to be mountain biking regularly on this, but I wanted the bike to be able to do it a little bit. So the dropper post, I think, is key to making that work. I don't know if you've ever tried to ride a mountain bike off-road with a drop-style handlebar and road levers. It's not that easy to do. It's a little sketchy. So having the dropper post on there will actually make it a lot easier to do that. So those are the basic components for the drivetrain and the seat post that will complete the final build for this bike. So just to review, the A1 is a magnesium gravel frame or gravel bike frame. They call it an all-road frame. The bike is designed to do a lot of different stuff, which is why I was interested in that. It's also a magnesium frame, super lightweight, and really comfortable to ride. So having spent a whole season in 2022 riding on that magnesium frame, I really enjoyed it quite a bit. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and put these parts together. Come on along for the journey, and we'll get her done. Well, there you have it. That's the final build on the Vaast A1 project bike. It's been 14 months in the making, and appreciate your coming along on the journey with me. Just to recap, what our original intention was for this bike was to have a versatile platform that allowed us to have a usable road bike that I could ride with other road riders, a gravel bike that would obviously handle the gravel rides, and of course the ability to do a little bit of single track. I don't think I'm going to do a lot of mountain biking on this, but it's kind of cool to have the capability if I wanted it. The heart of this system, of course, was the Force Axis 12-speed shifting setup, which I also included a GX Eagle rear derailleur as part of this setup in case I wanted to use that wider range cassette, which the Force derailleur would not allow for. Also, I got the Quarq power meter in the crankset, and the really nifty item up here that you see behind me here is the Sram Xplor dropper seat post. Pretty cool item. It actually, not only does it drop down to allow you to have a little better control of the bike in rough conditions, but it also has a little bit of suspension to it as well. It's called active mode, and the seat post actually will have some give to it to smooth out your ride. So it's kind of a cool thing. I'm really looking forward to trying this bike out, and of course we'll do some review videos of the ride of the bike and the performance at some point in the not too distant future. But that's it for now. Thanks for coming on the journey with me, of course. If you like this video, we'd love it if you give us a little thumbs up on it. And of course, if you'd like to see more content from Cyclecraft TV, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That's it for me. I'll see you next time on Cyclecraft TV. And don't forget, keep that rubber side down.